Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira from Munira's Musings. How are you? It's been a while since I came here because I have a new grandchild and I was helping my daughter with her baby. Everybody's fine, so thank you for asking. I know what you're thinking. We'll send pictures in a few days. We have Kevin all the way from, Kevin, where are you from?
St. Paul, Minnesota.
Right, St. Paul's, Minnesota. My son lives there.
Oh my gosh.
Right, in one of the suburbs. But it's been a wonderful meeting that we had with Kevin because he reached out to me on LinkedIn and we connected and we did some work together. The idea of this show is to connect people to the right resources, and we can showcase the right resource for you. And Munira's Musings does just that, right? Because there's so many people with so much talent out there, and they do their own thing, but we like to showcase them because there is always value in the person we bring here. So, without further ado, let's talk to Kevin. Hi, Kevin. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Munira. Thanks for having me. So I write websites that get prospects interested in what you do in 7 seconds or less. And so that's why the name of my company is 7-Second Websites.
Wow. But let me ask you this. Do
Sure.
people read that fast?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not so much that even that they read that fast. Even just looking at the words on a website before you start reading, your brain makes up its mind whether to even read it or not. So it even has to look fast. It has to look easy and simple and really, really clear what you do and why your prospect should care. Those are the two key hurdles to clear. Really, not even just with websites, but emails, LinkedIn, pretty much every communication you have, the person coming to that messaging is deciding really, really quickly. The average, I chose 7 seconds, but the study that was done was done with goldfish, and goldfish have a attention span of 8 seconds. So I lowered it a second because I just figured after COVID, we're all just even a little more crazy. And I lowered it to 7, but it's really fast just in terms of like how quickly someone is going to decide whether to pay attention to you or not.
So, Munira's Musings actually showcases you and your talent, right? But we also want to learn about your journey. So you started 7 seconds and you talked about COVID. Everybody talks about COVID and everybody
Totally.
blames poor COVID. I feel so bad for it, but
I
that's
know.
another story for another day. Because, the world has kind of stopped, right? But what did you do before you started doing websites? Have you ever always done that? How, tell us, take us through the journey to what you did before and what you're doing today.
Sure. So I actually, when I graduated college, I'm from Texas. I went to school in Austin. After I got out of school, I went to work for a sitcom called King of the Hill in LA, and which is a show based in Texas, but it's a cartoon. And the writers for that show, it's a very writer heavy show because it's a cartoon, were just spectacular. And they just taught me so much about writing and the discipline and the process. And just like about comedy, I'm a big fan of comedy and writing. And so that was almost like a graduate school, getting to work for that show. But I just sort of decided that was not my strength, was fiction. And I really wanted to write more nonfiction, and that led me to advertising and marketing. And so I went back to school to a place called the Creative Circus in Atlanta for 2 years. All we did was create ads, and there were fake ads for our portfolio. And then you show your ads, and everyone knows they're fake because you're a student. And I just knew that the best copywriters seemed to be coming out of Minneapolis here in Minnesota. And so I just moved up here on a whim and started showing my portfolio. And I got a job with a really good agency up here. And I've been doing that for 20 years now, copywriting. And at some point, even then, I loved it, but I just had this feeling I really wanted to work for myself. And that there was really a critical flaw in advertising between the writer and the business owner. And it just felt like so much was getting filtered from the words that a business owner would talk about and want, and how much they knew their business and their customer. By the time all that got filtered down to the writer, in my case, we'd come back to the business owner with something that they really didn't want, and it really wasn't that effective. And so when I started my company, what I was so excited about was putting the writer in the same room, maybe in person or Zoom after COVID, as the business owner, and just asking them direct questions about their prospect, or some people call it a client or a customer, who that future customer. That's where it got really exciting for me. Was just focusing not even on the business owner. I always tell them, this isn't even about you. It's about your customer. And that business owner eats, sleeps, dreams about that customer night and day. They know it so well. And my job just became drawing those words out of, I'll never be able to write about their customer and really know their customer as well as they can. And I don't even pretend to. My job is to work, really to collaborate with them to sort of pull those words and stories and experience of what their customer needs, and really the problem their customer is coming to them to solve. When I can start to get those answers from them, and then they can see their own words start to appear on their own website. To me, that was it. And that was at the beginning of COVID. When that started, I just knew my business was going to take off, and boy, did it ever! That was a very different way of working with a business owner, and I can't go back. It's my favorite thing.
So this is amazing, right? So you found your niche by working with different kinds of people, and then figured out how to narrow the funnel. There's a lot of people out there who haven't yet kind of deciphered their niche, and they're still looking. And I'm so glad you did, right? So the other question then I have is, while we met on LinkedIn, right? And
Right.
you reached out because you wanted me to, if you could help me change some of the things on my profile, that would be awesome, right? And
Right.
it kind of worked because I get a little bit more views than before, but kind of worked, right, for me, because we didn't go deep into whatever we were doing.
Sure.
But you're working with people on LinkedIn. So how then does LinkedIn play such a great part in your organization, in your business?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, once I sort of discovered, about working directly with business owners, asking these questions, um, it's still the part about getting leads was still a real hurdle that I had to clear. And everyone I talked to, all these other copywriters, were saying the same thing, that once we could get people to their website, they could do what's called convert, which means, just clicking on a button to schedule a meeting with the business owner, or buy, if it's an e-commerce site, buying. the conversions were great, but even for our own businesses, we still had to get people to our website. And everybody has that problem. Getting people to your website doesn't just attract leads, by magic or automatically. You have to get people there. And it was just, and I see now in the faces of my clients, there is a real desperation. Um, and I was getting desperate, especially with COVID and not being able to network. And so finally, I was in this networking group. It was an online networking group. And I met up with a ghostwriter, and we just had some writing in common. And he was so busy, and I was like, how are you getting all these leads? And he said, I run a campaign on LinkedIn. And when I say campaign, it's an automated message that goes out to your target market. And that takes a while to just figure out what that market is. And that, of course, plays a lot into my niche and figuring out what that niche is. But once I started doing that, my business just, wow, it was night and day. It was the thing I'd been looking for many, many years. Just people popping up into my inbox, in this case, into LinkedIn, to people direct messaging me, DMing me, saying, yes, I want to work with you. And it just took a while. Luckily, I'm a copywriter, so I'm really used to writing scripts and just different messaging. And it took a while to just experiment, but my message became, I'd like to I think I can bring more inquiries to your website by making one tiny tweak to your website. Um, can we have a quick chat so I can show you? And it was just two very simple, very brief sentences that really set us apart. Whereas normally you'd get these messages and they're so long and they're all about the business owner or the company and what we do and how we can help and how long we've been in business. And it just is so not interesting for the person getting that message. Whereas this particular style of message is nothing about me. It's all about you and whoever's receiving that message. And it's really quick and it really respects their time. And it's even looking at it, your brain, before it can decide whether or not to read it, it's so short that it's too late. You've already read it because we really make it very easy to read, which is the hardest part, is just getting people to decide to read something. And before you know it, you've read two very little sentences, and it seems to be just enough for someone to just reply and go, sure, or absolutely. But now it's gotten to the point where people are even noticing the campaign itself. And I guess they're just, particularly savvy prospects, but they say, this is the best cold outreach I've ever gotten. Call me. And that when they started saying, call me on like giving me their cell phone, I thought, wow, they trust me. They respect the process. And I think they just thought this is kind of a different, more refreshing experience of getting sold. I mean, there is some sales going on here, even though it's a free service to begin with, me making this one tweak. I think they really thought this is new and different and feels like it really is just about me. And I think that's part of the magic of this, if you will.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah.
So your target, not target, your target market is in on LinkedIn because you're working with business owners. What are two things or three things that you can tell our audience to do right now, and why should they be on that platform? So just pieces of advice.
So because I'm a copywriter, so I write all day. I write a daily email 7 days a week. And for a while I was posting on LinkedIn every single day. I still think it's a really good idea to write to your, clientele, as often as you can. I do it every day, but I'm a writer. And that's one of the coaching things I offer is to help people write consistently. I call it business words. I help you write your business words. Some people do it once a week. Some people do it every day. Some people do it once a month. But I do think that's nice in any way, shape, or form. If you can do an email, a LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, even handwritten letters. Some people do direct mail with a handwrite or type out letters. But just getting that content flowing out helps you, the business owner, sell better, more efficiently, and come up with new ideas for things to sell and ways to sell it. So that I do recommend some kind of consistent writing practice. But the other thing is there is a way to send out your own campaign, even if it's not automated, even if it's just every day you send out, let's say, 5 direct messages to someone you'd like to work with. There's a way. What's nice about LinkedIn is they do limit the characters you can send in an automated campaign. So if you do it manually, I would limit it to about 300 characters. And I would start off just completely laser focused on your customer. You don't need to say like, I do this, or we've done that in the past, or even if you say something like, I can help you do this thing, whatever service or product you offer, it should quickly turn into why would that help me? What's the benefit? What's the outcome of that service? And that's where you can really get a what I call a fast message. It really is about speed. And there's a visual look to it too, where if you break it up into 2 simple sentences of like, here's how I can help you and the benefit. And then that second sentence sets, when they do reply, that second sentence is going to set you up for that conversation that you can have with them. Because that's another part that, is a little hard is, what if they say yes? What if they say, yes, I want to meet with you? What are you going to say? And what that second sentence is, in my case, it's, can we have a quick chat so I can show you? That now sets the patience for the call. Like, I now need to deliver the thing that I promised to give you, which is a nice form of generosity and sort of lowers a lot of the resistance that they might have of feeling like, is this person going to waste my time? Am I going to get on a call and they're just going to sell me something I don't need and I'm going to feel sold to, which doesn't feel very nice. There's times in my calls where as soon as they come on the call, I don't even introduce myself. I don't say my name, how's the weather? I just say, hey, thanks for coming on the call. Mind if we dive right in? And every single person says, absolutely, because nobody wants to have their time wasted. We're all already too busy. So that second sentence of something along the lines of like, can we have a quick chat so I can show you, which refers to the first sentence, which is something about how you can help, really sets that expectation of like, I'm going to be very respectful of your time and generous with my own time. So I do think there is a real simplicity and clarity to just writing 2 simple sentences, and I'd space them apart, almost like 2 paragraphs, only they're 2 sentences. And then I write, thanks in advance, Kevin. There's some real magic there. And there's a little bit of a nice feeling. If you can do that, say 5, 10 times a day, there's a kind of I call it a marketing practice of just getting used to just waking up and prospecting and feeling good about it, that you're not, just out there bothering people or trying to sell them something. You really are just putting yourself out there, as often as you can. If you can do it 5 days a week, that's great. If you can do it once a week, that's great. But just knowing you have done your part every day to try and help someone is a really nice feeling, and it will keep you. At least in my case, it certainly keeps me motivated to keep doing it.
So then some people are not on LinkedIn. They use Instagram, they use Facebook. Does this strategy work for them too?
Oh yeah, especially like this, even that attitude of like I'm just here to help people. I've gone into like marketing Facebook groups, and someone will ask a question and go, that's a good practice to get into as well. However consistently you can do it is just going into these different Facebook groups. Joining if it's a membership, they'll let you in. And someone says, I don't know how to do this, whatever niche you're in, then for you to have that practice of saying, I can help. Here's one suggestion. Here's a tip. Here's a referral of someone who's better at this than I am. Let me put you in touch with my network. Uh, just gets you in that mindset of always helping people. And at some point, it just becomes obvious like, wow, this person is really it makes you stick in their minds. Like when you help them solve a problem, they do not forget you. Even if they can't use you, they start to refer you. Say, hey, someone will say, how did you solve that? And they say, oh, Kevin Friedberg helped me, or this guy on Facebook helped me. Let me get his name for you. But yeah, but even on Facebook, of course, any of those social media channels, you can always get into what I think is the beauty of all this is trying to get to a one-on-one conversation. That's where things really get interesting. You sort of start off big of this, putting yourself out there, as a post. You post on Instagram or you post on Twitter, but when it comes back, like, hey, Kevin, that's an interesting post you had today on whatever I talked about. Now you're in a one-on-one conversation. And the quicker you can get to that, that's another reason why I like email. Email is another big blast. You're however many subscribers you have, it just goes out there. But the reply comes back one-on-one. When they say, hey, that was great, or tell me more about that, or I don't understand this one part. Now you are in a one-on-one conversation, and that is where things can really start to benefit both of you.
Very, very interesting. So, Kevin, how do people find you?
So I'm at the number seven, secondwebsites.com. And what people find, I think, most beneficial, as far as I can tell, if they want to know more, is to sign up for my daily email, which is 7secondwebsites.com/daily. But that's been the most interesting form of kind of beginning. It's obviously free, and it's a really quick. Like I tell people, you can get everything you want out of that email in the first 7 seconds. The rest is gravy. But you'll even see when you open it up, it looks fast. Yeah.
Wonderful. Much as I want to continue this conversation because it is about marketing, it is about creating relationships, and it is about growing your business by helping other people. It's always like that. The best people have always said that they want to help people, and they do it by helping people in groups by and showing up in groups. So that's where your time should be spent, in creating those relationships by answering questions and helping other people resolve their problems. And like I said, much as I want to continue this conversation, we are up to the max because we got other things to do and nobody has time to listen to us going on and on. But you know what? We could do something together, and there are so many things that other people are going to show up with. We are going to put this up on different platforms as well. And if you have any questions, go ahead and sign up for Kevin's 7 second daily email. And he's going to teach you how to do that because the strategies that he used could be useful to you in your business. And if you like our show, please share, like, and subscribe to our channel because we have a new guest being showcased every week. Kevin, thank you so much for being here.
Munira,
Munira,
it's a real pleasure. Thank you so much for having
it
me.
is such a wonderful thing. But we'll bring you back so that you can share with us some more secrets.
I would
And
love
until then, have a good week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group.